Hi babes, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Cheyenne. I know it's been a hot minute. I have been very busy from work to trainings. I was in Korea for a little minute. So I have been out of the woodworks on YouTube for a little while. But we are back and we are going to do a takeoff. Well, not a full takeoff. We're going to file off the dip powder that is currently on these full cover nails, and we're going to use this color, this beautiful pink purple tint color. We're going to do this over the full cover jelly tips that are currently on there, and as you can see, that color was called Totally Whipped. All of the products in this video are from Kiara Sky. So if you would like to know about any of the products, just let me know in the comment section down below and let's get to it. So here you will see that I am filing off the current dip powder that is on the full cover jelly tips. This is the short almond shape. I usually do the filing on around 5 to 8 RPMs. I don't like it to be too high because I don't want to risk any burn sensation or anything like that, just because these are the full cover jelly tips, and I have started to use just the dip powder base for applying the jelly tips instead of using the gel, the builder gel that comes with them. I have found that using the dip powder base for the full cover tips actually lasts a little bit longer for me, and I don't get any lifting, and I like the effect on my natural nail bed versus if you have an air pocket in the builder gel, you could end up getting, that green, I can't remember the name of it, but like the green pockets on your nails. And I've had that happen a few times using the builder gel. So now I use the Kiara Sky dip powder base when applying the full cover tips. So we are going to go ahead and take those completely off because I've had some cracking in the almond ones, and we're going to use the short square. I decided to switch it up a little bit. I always do almond. So I wanted to switch it up and do the square. It used to be my go-to shape. Square, super square, not squoval, but super square used to be my go-to shape. So now we're just going to go in and make sure you get the correct sizes for your full cover tips. Then you want to file the inside of your full cover tips. If you don't have a drill or any e-file of some sort, you can use a nail file, the small end of a nail file to kind of get in there. If not, what you can do is you can take the rough drill bits. It's kind of like the file drill bits. You can take one of those, put it on any type of tip or Q-tip or something you might have, a wooden stick, and you can go in and rough the undersurface. So once you're done roughing the surface or the under surface of all of the jelly tips, you want to go through the dip powder steps. So the dip powder essentials, it'll come with your primer, and then you would use that before your base. So you want to put that on each nail generously. Of course, it doesn't burn your skin, but you don't want to get it on your skin. That's a waste of product. So once you're done with that, you want to go in with your base. Now, this is what I was saying earlier, how I use the dip powder base, which is like a stronger adhesive, a stronger glue. And I use that to adhere the jelly tips now. Now, one thing I will say is that I have found that using the dip powder base is such an easier removal process than the builder gel. I mean, it's up to you. As I said, I am not, full-on professional, but for my DIYers, my at-home girlies who like to do our own nails, it is so much of a easier process to remove the full cover tips that are put on with the dip powder base versus put on with the builder gel, and it also saves a lot more time. And I found that in some cases when I do just the full cover tips with gel polish, I can even remove those with the Instagram TikTok hack of using warm water, olive oil, and dishwashing or not dishwashing liquid. So it's up to you guys. But if you want a quicker process, if you want to change them out more often than not, or if you're, using dip powder most of the time over your jelly tips, your full cover tips, try the dip powder base versus the builder gel. So now that we have all of our full cover tips on, if you like the length, go ahead and keep it that length. But be sure to file that little extra tip on the end of those jelly tips so you don't cut anything. But for me, I like to cut down my nails because, as y'all know, I am military. So we do have a length requirement. So I cut them down short. As short as I possibly can get them. I usually like to make the cutter touch the tip of my finger, and that's how I know I'm getting them really short. And from there, you'll go ahead and file your end or the tip of your nail cover tip, and then you can shape up the side walls if you need. And then for the top or the surface of the cover tip, you want to go ahead and buff off that shine. Buffing off the shine will make sure that any product that you do use, whether it's gel polish or dip powder, will adhere to it. So for this set, I'm going to use the pillable base. And I want to use the pillable base because I will probably leave these cover tips on for 2 to 3 different sets, depending on how fast my nails grow out. But using a pillable base, especially with gel polish and dip powder, it allows for easier removal of just the polish or the dip powder without taking the cover tips off. So you want to find this UNT pillable base. I got that one off of Amazon. Very cheap, came pretty fast. I use it very often when I want to keep the tips that I'm using on for a few sets. And this allows me to kind of crack the corners of the dip powder and then be able to take the full dip powder off of the tip without damaging the full cover tip that's currently on there. So you want to apply one layer, and then you want to let that dry, and then you want to apply another layer of the pillable base. Once that completely dries, you can go in with whatever process you're doing. For this set, like I said, we're using Totally Whipped, and we're going to use the dip powder method. As we know, Kiara Sky has the all-in-one powders now. And with the all-in-one powders, you can use it as a dip powder or an acrylic powder. For me, I have not mastered acrylic to the T yet. So when it comes to filming, I'm not comfortable filming my process of using acrylics on myself. So I still like to go through and use the dip powder method, especially with full cover tips, because I get the smoothest layer of dip powder when I'm using full cover tips. I don't get any ridges. I don't get an uneven surface. The dip powder literally just lays on the full cover tips in the same shape, that perfect C curve, not too curved. But I love the way Kiara Sky's dip powder lays on the full cover tips, and it allows you to have a minimal refining time. So when it comes to filing or filing the surface of the dip powder with the drill, it's a faster process. You don't really have to really reshape like you would sometimes if you're using dip powder just on your natural nail bed, because you're trying to make the shape as perfect as possible. When you're using dip powder on the full cover tips, your shape is already there. So you're literally just smoothing out the surface and making sure there are no grooves. And that's what I like. So now we're going to go in with our clear. You always want to use a clear to encapsulate that color, especially if you're not doing several layers of dip powder. For full cover tips, I only like to do 2 to 3 layers of dip powder, depending on the color and how opaque or how dark I want the color to be. So with this purplish color, especially being in uniform, I don't want it too bold. The Air Force has changed their nail color standards. So the regulations state that any nail color that does not distract from the uniform And then, of course, there are those colors that are no kidding in the regulations that state you cannot wear a uniform. So with that being the updated regulations, we can kind of wear a lot of more range of colors in uniform. And you don't want it to, be distracting, because if it's distracting to one person, that's what the regulations now state. And if they say it's distracting, you might have to get your nail color changed. So that's why I only did 2 layers of that purple color. Once you're finished with encapsulating with the clear, you want to go in with your Seal Protect, just like any other dip powder process. You want to Seal Protect that clear over your dip powder. And this Seal Protect, what it does is it hardens the dip powder. That's literally all it does, is hardens that dip powder. You want to make sure you want to get the Seal Protect in all corners and creases of the nail, because when you go to file your nail, you want to make sure you're not taking out any chunks. And if the dip powder is not completely hardened, you can end up taking out chunks while you're filing or e-filing. So once you're completely done with seal protecting each nail, you want to go ahead and start your filing process. I like to refile the edge walls and then the free edge of the nail, making sure my square is really square and sharp. As I stated earlier, I don't really care for squoval. I like square. So I ensure that my square is really sharp by filing those edges in the free wall. Next, I go in with my file, and I love to use this drill bit here. You can put your minimum, I think I use a medium grit band on this one when it comes to filing the surface of dip powder. And I always use it on 3 to 4. I don't want to take off products. I don't want to change the shape of it. I'm literally just moving the surface. So you don't want to go above 3 to 4 RPMs, because here we're just smoothing out the surface. We're making sure that everything's even. There are no grooves or dips in the surface of your dip powder. If you go higher, you can end up taking out dip powder. So once you're completely done with that, you want to buff your free edge. And this is to make sure that your free edge is smooth and you're not cutting yourself or cutting anybody with super square edges. And then you don't want to use Seal Protect again as if you were putting on the dip powder top coat. This is not that process. So we skip that second process of Seal Protect and we're going straight to your finish gel. So I'm going to use Kiara Sky's top coat. This is a non-wipe top coat. I love not having to wipe my top coat with alcohol to get the sticky layer off. And Kiara Sky has one of the best non-wipe top coats. So we're going to go ahead and put this top coat on all of your nails. For me, I always use a angular brush. That way I can clean up any excess before I go in and cure the top coat. If you have any other tricks for gel polish excess removal that gets onto the skin, let me know in the comments down below. And then I cure that for 60 seconds. And here you can see the finished product. And so we're just going to use Kiara Sky's cuticle oil. I love this one. It smells like sweet tarts. Like, it smells so fruity. It just smells really good. It's one of my favorite cuticle oils by Kiara Sky. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I love this color. It was called Total Whipped again. It's on Kiara Sky's website. I used the dip powder version of Totally Whipped for this set. And if you have any comments, any questions, any tips, anything you would like me to do next, just let me know in the comment section down below. I will be back posting, monthly per usual. I will be trying to post more than once monthly now that I'm back home. But stay tuned, you guys. Let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys in the next one.